In this video, I'll be going over the basic functions and options of a mini-split remote control. The remote I have here is from a MrCool unit, but many of the other brands are going to have very similar buttons and options. Let's start with the easiest button, which is the power button. Pressing this button turns the unit on or off. Next is the mode button. Pressing this button changes the mode that the air conditioner is operating in. Each press of the button will change the mode in the following sequence: auto, cool, dry, heat, and fan. If you select auto mode, the air conditioner will automatically select the appropriate mode by itself, whether it be cooling, fan, or heat. You just set the desired temperature in the room and it'll hold that temperature, automatically turning on the heating or the cooling as needed. An important thing to note is that you cannot adjust the fan speed while in auto mode. The next selection is cool mode. This will set the unit to air conditioning only operation. Unlike the auto mode, this mode allows you to select any fan speed you want. Next is dry mode, also known as dehumidifier mode. In the dry mode, you cannot adjust the fan speed. It'll be automatically controlled. You also can't control the temperature setting. The unit will run non-stop and does not operate based on temperature or humidity. You would use this mode if you wish to dehumidify the room. Next is heat mode, which puts the unit in heating only operation. This mode allows you to select any fan speed you want. And lastly, we have the fan only mode. In this mode, the cooling and heating remain off and only the blower fan runs. And if we press the fan button right below it, this allows us to select our desired fan speed. You can choose low speed, medium, high, or auto. Next, we have the silence button. When this button is pressed, the compressor will run at a low frequency and the indoor fan runs at the lowest speed possible to reduce noise. This is probably not an option you would use very often unless you need the room absolutely quiet, because when the silence feature is activated, it can reduce cooling and heating capacity. To cancel the silence function, press the clean or silence button. And if you press and hold this button for 2 seconds, this would activate the freeze protection feature. This function can only be used with heating. When freeze protection is active, the unit will maintain a minimum set temperature of 46 degrees to prevent freezing temperatures and keep pipes warm. The indoor unit's display will show FP when this mode is active. In the middle of the remote, we have the up and down temperature buttons. These are only used to select the desired room temperature. Two important things to note is that these temperature control buttons will not work in fan mode, and if you press and hold the up and down arrows together for 3 seconds, that will switch the temperature display from Fahrenheit to Celsius. Next, we have the timer on and off buttons. Pressing the timer on button multiple times allows you to set a timer for the unit to automatically turn on by itself in a set amount of time. For example, if I select 3.5 hours, this means that the unit will come on automatically in 3.5 hours. And if I set the timer off setting to 4 hours, this means that the unit will turn off after running for 4 hours. So with what I have selected right now, the air conditioner will turn on in 3.5 hours, run for 4 hours, and shut off. You can set the on and off timers together or separately, depending on what you need. To disable the timers, simply continue pressing the timer buttons until they return to 0 hours, and that will turn them off. And over here on the other side, we have the sleep button, which turns sleep mode on or off. This function can be used in heat, cool, or auto mode. When the unit is put in sleep mode, it reduces the compressor and fan speeds to make the unit operate quietly and efficiently. And I'm not sure what to think about this part, if this is a great idea or not so much, but when you're running sleep mode while you're cooling, it will also turn up the temperature automatically after 2 hours by 2 degrees. And after another 2 hours, it'll increase it by another 2 degrees, and in 7 hours, the unit will shut off. I'm guessing that the idea behind this feature is that oftentimes at night it's colder than during the day, so you don't need it to be set as cold as during the day. To disable sleep mode, press the mode, fan speed, or on-off button. Next, we have the turbo button, which is pretty much the opposite of the sleep button. Pressing this button will activate or disable turbo mode, which makes the unit run in the most non-efficient way possible, with the compressor and the fan running as hard as they can to cool or heat the room in the shortest amount of time possible. Next to turbo, we have the self-clean button, which activates or disables the self-clean function. When self-clean is activated, this will cause the unit to run the fans for an additional 10 minutes after reaching the desired room temperature. This will dry out any remaining water in the evaporator and keep it fresh for the next operation. Moving on to the swing button. This button is used to stop or start the auto swing feature of the horizontal louver. This feature is used to help evenly distribute the air throughout the room. But the direct button right next to it is a little bit different. Each press of this button changes the angle of the louver in 6-degree increments, which allows you to place the louver exactly where you want it. Next, you would push this button to initiate the Follow Me feature. When Follow Me is active, the remote control is the one that senses the temperature of the room instead of the air handler. So instead of measuring the temperature around the cassette, the thing hanging on the wall, it now measures the temperature around the remote control, wherever the remote is. So for example, if the desired temperature is 70 degrees, the air conditioner would continue to run until the temperature around the remote control is 70 degrees. And the last button that we have is the LED display button. If you press this button, that will simply turn off the display on the air handler unit. So at night, if the lights on the unit are bothering you, pressing this button will turn all the lights off. And that is how to use a mini split remote control. By the way, I heard that air conditioner jokes get a cool reception, so I got one for you. Why is the air conditioner repairman always the life of a party? Because it's just not cool until he arrives. If you have a better joke than that, I'll see you in the comments.